This is different. It's nice seeing all your wonderful faces this morning. Good morning, as I said. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church. We are a welcoming community, congregation, where we strive to transform ourselves and the world through love, wonder, and connection. My name is Beth Mackenzie Moore, and I use the she, her pronouns, and I serve as the chair of the Music and Arts Committee. What's it all about? Today, we welcome UUCC members Jane Mitchell and Dorothy Fillmore to the pulpit, where they will assist us in reflecting on a diversity of ideas from key philosophers about the meaning of life. We will have an opportunity to share our own thoughts on this topic. Whether you are here for the first time or the thousandth time, welcome. Whatever you are facing in your life, welcome. This is a place where we try our best to be real with one another, to get through hard things together, and to remind ourselves and one another of the values that ground and center us, that motivate us and move us. Whoever you are, whatever your faith journey, whomever you love, you are welcome here. We welcome all who seek to know the sacred and all who seek to make the world more just. Our commitment is to be together in covenant. So please join me in our affirmation of who this community is, beginning with that all-important word. Love is the sun of this church, and service is our way. This is our great covenant together, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Let's join in singing our opening hymn, Where Do We Come From? Number 1003 in the teal cover hymnal. Jonathan will be, there he is. Jonathan will be helping us sing the song in two-part round.
Great. Hello, everyone. 1 second. Okay, perfect. So, we're going to try a repeat after me. So each of these things happens twice in the score. So I'm going to sing the first line, and then you can just repeat after me. So, where do we come from? What? Wait, hang on 1 sec. The whole line. The whole line. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? My turn. Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Great, we're sounding awesome. So what I'd like to try is this side of the room, beginning with the first line, and then this part of the room doing the repeat. So it's not a round per se, but we're kind of listening to each other. So I will help direct this. So this side will sing the first line. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? A great dialogue.
Our chalice lighting words this morning come from Pat Uribe Lichty, different yet united. Evelyn will light our chalice this morning. Different yet united, a chalice lighting by Patrick Uribe Lichty. We come from many places, along different paths, bringing different truths. We come with different histories and different realities, and yet we come together as one people, with faith that we can use our differences to heal ourselves and each other, to bring wholeness to a fractured world. We come seeking to find community, to find acceptance of who we are. In this place, we may find others who are much like us and others who are much different. May our lit chalice remind us that we are a people by stories with many voices, but always one people working for a world where love creates justice, justice gives birth to peace.
Good morning. Please join me now in our time of meditation and prayer. Find a comfortable place for your body, noticing your breathing, finding your center. Take a moment to just be. Allow stillness to settle in. We gather this morning grateful to be together in community, sharing our hopes and worries with one another. We are thankful for the many summer pleasures, the lush green, the long days, lightning bugs, baseball, children laughing, and iced tea, just to name a few. We stand beside those we know who are hurting. We see you. We struggle to accept a government which acts against the best interest of all its people, taking away health insurance, cutting programs which provide practical support for families, kidnapping immigrants who are our neighbors. We worry about what the future holds for the children we know and love, for all children, whether we know them or not. We act to change laws and policies which hurt all people and which hurt our Mother Earth. In spite of these worries, or maybe because of them, we make good trouble together, thankful for time to connect, time to comfort, and time to inspire one another. Amen.
And we return to our centers of connection every week because we know that rituals bring us closer together and allow us to share the joy and hope, sorrows and fears that shape our lives. In the next few minutes of contemplative time, we'll be sharing together the experiences of witnessing each other and expressing our inner experiences by lighting a candle for joy, or sorrows or fear by placing a stone. In a moment, you will be invited to come forward to the middle, right here, and return to your seats as makes sense. Yes. But I was not prepared for that. If you are online, please use the chat to participate in our ritual. Write your name in either stone or candle, and we will add it for you to our altar. If you are in the room and would like someone to light a candle for your joy, you may now raise your hand. And if you would like, one more joy. Hopefully many more joys. If you would like someone to place a stone for your sorrow, you may raise your hand now. And we're going to try this out, so anyone else may come forward from your seat toward this aisle and then returning to your seat. Yeah, we'll come up the center, or this aisle if you're on this side. We light a candle for Michelle Matthews. And one for Chris. We place a stone for Michelle Matthews. And one for Chris. And we light one final candle for all of the joys that remain in our hearts, and place one final stone we've lovingly named the Big One for the remaining sorrows this morning. And now you may join into our sung prayer response. There is a love. Words on the screen. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. Amen. And I've been here, but I haven't introduced myself. So hi, my name is Adina Danuf. I use she or they pronouns, and I am your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. And today we are asking, what's it all about? Which is kind of a big question, right? Really one of the big questions, if you think about it. So that means that as long as there have been humans, people have been trying to figure that out, yeah? Yeah. Thank you. Now, in just a little bit, people are going to be sharing about some key philosophers. So those are people who dedicated a lot of time and energy to trying to figure it out. And they are people that we then in turn try to learn from. So you might be hearing about some old dudes like Aristotle or Socrates or maybe Plato, but not Play-Doh. Though one may say that Plato shaped a lot of ideas that still impact us today. Thank you for laughing, Scott. But just as important as the people we are going to hear about are the people that we are going to hear from, and that, in part, is you. We, too, think about answers to life's big questions, and therefore are also philosophers in our own ways. So I'm going to share a thought on an answer to this question of what's it all about, inspired by a UU minister, or philosopher, named Gary Kowalski. And to begin, we start with another deep philosophical question. Do you like to go for walks or hiking? Yeah, okay. I particularly love going any walks near water. Sometimes I just hurry through the hike to get to the waterfall or the river or a creek or even a babbling brook because I enjoy taking a few moments to sit and listen. But as much as I like those small moments, I try to remind myself that the point of a hike or a walk is to enjoy the whole thing, right? Another way that we might say this is that the journey is as important as the destination. You've heard this before. Okay. So a walk in the woods isn't a race. How quickly you get to the end isn't really the point. A walk is more like a meditation or a series of moments to be aware of, the sights and the sounds along the way. And if you're in too big of a hurry, you might forget to hear the birds sing, or you might miss that little mushroom growing right under that tree. So maybe the answer to what is it all about is slowing down. Maybe that's the answer. But Even when you take your time, a walk can sometimes be tough. Sometimes it rains, sometimes there's wet, soggy places, and the stepping stones are few and far between. And it's hard, and you may think, that's not what it's all about, so what is the point then? Well, in those cases, I found there are some things that help, and one of those is having a friend or two or a whole collection of them along. Because then, if it starts to pour and the raindrops are trickling down your nose, you can always sing together. It's hard to feel sorry for yourself when you're singing, right? I'm singing in the rain. Come on. I'm singing in the rain. Right? Oh. See, you cannot be sad. It's in the words of the song. So maybe the answer to what is it all about is having someone there to count on. But we don't always have someone there to count on. Sometimes you have to take the journey alone. So whether you have a friend or not on a hike, there's nothing like a walking stick for those soggy, boggy places. Something that will help you keep your balance and steady on your legs, whether you're walking uphill or downhill. And walking sticks can make us think about our faith. Because for Unitarian Universalists, life is like a long walk or a journey. You might be following this path now. It starts when we're children and just learning about the world, and it grows as we grow. And with each step, we gather more information and we gain more experience, trying to figure out what it's all about. So as we explore and find out about ourselves, our beliefs change. The things we imagine were true when we were 6 can be very different from what we imagine when we're 60, right? I actually hope that that's true for people in this room. So in the end, maybe none of us can be certain where or how the trail ends or what we'll find along the way. All we know for sure is that other people have walked this way before, giving us hope and courage to continue on the adventure. So our religion, our faith, is like a walking stick. It's not a faith that solves our problems or can magically lift us over the hard places, but the journey is still important even if it's hard. So it is a faith that keeps us steady and reminds us that while we are on this journey, we can be strong, we can be resilient, we can work together, and we are capable no matter who we are. So here's to hoping youism will stick with you the whole way along your journey. Thank you. While you try to figure out what it's all about. And right now, for some of us, it's all about heading to class. Thank you.
Please join me in our offering and acknowledging all the ways we give to this church and this world. We give because this is our church and we value what it does for us, to us, and through our community and our world. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this church inside and outside our walls. May we give in love and hope. Thank you. Thank you for your offering and all the ways you give to our life and ministry with your time, talent, treasure, and trust. Together, our gifts allow us to expand and strengthen the tapestry of love, wonder, and connection that blesses this church and transforms us and the world. Our reading this morning is the handout you received with your order of service. Listen for how these philosophers describe the meaning of life. Schopenhauer. Our meaningless life is filled with suffering from a will to live filled with insatiable desires. But we can find peace in compassion for others and through contemplation in art and music. Kierkegaard. Meaning comes from passionate leap of faith that engages anxiety as a catalyst for authentic self-discovery and embraces the irrational absurdity of religion to form a personal relationship with God. Nietzsche. To overcome nihilism, create your own values. Embrace life's joy and sufferings, and become an empowered self. William James. Meaning in life is not determined abstractly, but rather what we choose, actions, and by what practical difference it makes. Camus. Defy the absurdity of an indifferent universe to find meaning in simple rhythms of nature and overcoming oppression and injustice with common human decency. Russell. Life has no grand preordained purpose, but we can find meaning in engagement that transcends personal concerns to support humanity's potential for progress into a better world. Rabindranath Tagore. Meaning is found through service to benefit others and future generations. It is in service that we find joy. Hubert Harrison. Meaning is found in secular humanism, not religion. We can find meaning in working for racial and class equality. Schlick. Beyond work, what has an external purpose? A meaningful life includes play, the pursuit of enjoyable, fulfilling activities with an intrinsic value. Simone de Beauvoir. Humans are born without a predefined nature or essence. So we are free to choose our actions and create our own meaning through the projects we undertake. Tolstoy. Meaning is not intellectually, but is not found intellectually, but rather through faith, which allows us to live a life of purpose and service. Ernest Becker. We create a meaning through heroic structures, vital lives, to deny our terror of death. Hannah Arendt. A life without thinking is not merely meaningless, but is not fully alive. It is like sleepwalking. Spinoza. The meaning of life is found in understanding that everything is part of one substance called God of nature. And if we align with its rational order through reason, we can attain freedom, virtue, and happiness. Air. Give your life its own meaning because there is no other. Bell Hooks. Meaning is found in love of self and community while challenging intersecting structures of oppression.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was beautiful. Good morning. My name is Dorothy Fillmore, and I use she, her pronouns. When I was 12, I joined Fountain City Presbyterian Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. As part of that joining, I was required to memorize the catechism and make a public profession of faith. The first question in the catechism was, what is the chief end of man? The answer, man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Easy peasy, we can all go home now. That's the meaning of life, all summed up for a 12-year-old. Glorify God and enjoy Him forever. As you might imagine, that answer didn't last long. When Jane and I planned this service, we wanted it to be fun, to look at the many ways philosophers think about life's meaning, and to create a space where we could share our thoughts about the question. But let's be honest, some of us may not find this fun. Some of us may be struggling or have previously struggled with this question in the middle of the night, wondering what our lives are about and if they are worth living. I know I've had some of those times, and I suspect others may have also. Even some of the philosophers on your handout reached their conclusions about life's meaning after bouts of depression. Jane and I know that considering life's meaning on a Sunday morning with our faith community is a privilege. You may also notice that we did not include the usuals on this list. There are no ancient Greeks. There are no transcendentalists or John Locke, the philosophers who are most often associated with Unitarian Universalism. You may have philosophers you want to add to the list, and we hope you do. It would be amazing to have other services exploring your favorites. Nowadays, when I think about the meaning of life, I most often go to Bill Murray in his role as Tripper Harrison, one of the leaders of Camp North Star in the movie Meatballs. North Star campers have lost badly to a sister camp, the Mohawks. North Star campers are in despair. Tripper energizes the defeated campers by chanting, "It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter." With great humor, Tripper shows us the absurdity of it all and encourages us to laugh at ourselves. In my early 20s, I read two authors who made an impact on my thinking about life's meaning. And now, having just turned 70, I still think about them. The first was William James and his Varieties of a Religious Experience. James's work encouraged me to start trusting my own experience in a practical way. I cannot tell you how important that was to my development. I had grown up in a family and a culture that stressed strict gender roles, heterosexuality, conformity, and religiosity. I did not trust my own experience. Growing up, my father, he was a physician. His response when any of his children said we were sick was to say, "No, you're not." Only he, the authority, could make that distinction. So when James says that individual experience is to be valued and that experience can be assessed by its practical outcome, that was freeing to me. I could assess my experience myself by asking about its practicality. Was it good for me? Was it true for me? Was it good for others? One of my favorite sayings from William James is that we should judge religious experience by its fruits, not its roots. And I have modified that to read, "Judge experience by its fruits, not its roots." If the roots are bad, the fruit is bad. If the fruit is bad, the roots are bad. My understanding of the meaning of life may not really matter. Do you hear the echo of Tripper Harrison at North Star Camp? If my life bears good fruits. Along with reading William James in my 20s, I also read Ernest Becker's Denial of Death. Becker believes that we, and I mean by we, I mean individually and societally, make up stories, hero stories, in order to deny our creatureliness. We make up meaning to help us pretend we will be immortal, that our work, our contributions will live on. Becker calls these vital lies because they help us hold the existential anxiety, the knowledge of our own death, at bay. Becker believes that we cannot endure our own littleness unless we can translate it into meaningfulness on the largest level possible. We see ourselves as heroes of our own story so that we can leave legacies which will make us immortal, even though immortality is not possible. Reading Becker helped me understand that I could fashion a story, an existence, which would hold my existential anxiety at bay so I could enjoy my life. He says that people create the reality they need to discover themselves, which we cannot do if we are existentially anxious. Tripper Harrison, William James, and Ernest Becker are just a few of the thinkers who've influenced my understanding about life's meaning. We are interested in what you think about the meaning of life. And after Jane shares her thoughts, we will ask you to talk in small groups of 2 or 3 about this topic.
Good morning. I'm Jane Mitchell, and I use she, her pronouns. Ah. So, the meaning of life. What's the meaning of life? Such a big question. What about something smaller? Are travel vacations meaningful? What's the point of leaving home? This week I went on my first flight since COVID. Brief 3-night trip to New Hampshire beaches to catch up with my upstate New York friends. Plus, I was testing the waters to see if vacations were actually meaningful. The airline canceled my 6 a.m. Monday flight the night before. They rebooked it for Tuesday, 24 hours later. Cut it to a 2-night stay, even though I'd spent a week packing a capsule beach wardrobe and a TSA-worthy medical kit. I have type 1 diabetes, so there's a little extra stress involved. I reasonably considered not going at all, but my friends were expecting me, and the far-flung North Beach hotel that I'd managed to get, because somebody must have dropped the room, had a spectacular view of a quiet beach. So I thought, hey, I'll do it. So at 4 in the morning, I got up, scrambled, and got a direct flight that day on another airline and changed destination, airport, and car. Before takeoff, that plane, of course, got the stairs stuck for about a half hour, and we had to change gates a couple of times. And then there's the slow rental car in Boston. But we got to Hampton, out to the beach by the boardwalk, because I knew there were lots of restaurants. I'd watched a lot of videos, so I knew exactly what I was in for, except I forgot that there may be restaurants, but there's no parking. So we went round and round and round and round and round. I had skipped lunch because, of course, I was going to eat a very high-calorie dinner at the boardwalk. But so that didn't pan out. Somehow we went inland and got a little bit of a sandwich. But after, so then the next day we got up, headed down to the boardwalk again, where my friend was at the beach, and we couldn't get parking, of course, again and round and round and round. Finally found a place to put some money in, and realized we didn't have the wallet with the credit card, but we had money. You know, so anyway, round and round again. So finally, after about 40 minutes slogging through the sand, we got to my friend on the beach, and her husband and her grandson and her daughter, and it was all good. But with all of that, I was thinking how much of a 4-day vacation time is spent on absurd stuff, and how much of life is spent on absurd stuff. Absurdity, life filled with meaningless but obligatory tasks, even if you're supposed to be having fun. But many everyday lives are filled with boredom, repetition, struggles, suffering. Too many face challenges that seem unbearable. This is why I'm gravitating towards the absurdist philosopher Albert Camus this morning. So here's a striking memory from my first Unitarian church in Albany, New York. The men stepped onto the sunny front steps wearing black armbands on their coats. We are mourning, my father explained, because Camus died. It was January 1960, and I was 6. I knew that Camus was smart and famous, like Gertrude Stein. I also knew he had died in a car accident. I didn't know he was French-Algerian, had won a Nobel Peace Prize, or that William Faulkner had written his obituary and Jean-Paul Sartre had given the eulogy. Later, my father talked to me about Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus. I loved Greek myths then and understood the story about the king who'd angered the gods for cheating death. Zeus made Sisyphus push the same enormous boulder up a steep mountain only to have it roll back down, so he had to roll it up again. A horrible story about punishment was all I thought at that age. Now I know this Sisyphean task serves as an absurdist allegory for the human condition. His eternal back-breaking struggle mirrors our experience of facing a meaningless existence. One must imagine Sisyphus happy, says Camus. This doesn't mean Sisyphus is literally happy, but accepting his fate and finding meaning in the act of struggling. He transcends the absurdity of his situation and achieves a kind of inner peace. Camus himself, even after a poor Algerian childhood and struggling in World War II, embraced joy in the present moment. We can see him smiling in photos. He generally was a cheerful guy. Not so my other favorite philosopher. That was the 19th century Soren Kierkegaard. In college, I wrote a thesis on this melancholy and anxious Dane. A lonely but engaging theologian and novelist, he launched existentialism. He explored themes of freedom, anxiety, despair, authenticity, and the individual's relationship with God, often through literary experimentation and using amusing pseudonyms. Kierkegaard refuted the popular rational philosophy of Hegel. He despised church institutions. He said they made Christians lazy. He believed in individual religious exploration leading to a passionate, personal connection with God. He knew belief in God was absurd. In the Bible, Abraham was willing to kill his own son because God asked him to. How absurd is that? Believing in God does not make rational sense. What philosophers even try to prove it? They assume it. For Kierkegaard is not proven or given. It requires a personal leap of faith. Camus did not care about finding God. Camus didn't need any higher power to appeal to. He thought that was a cop-out. I do not believe in God, and I'm not an atheist, he said. This reflects his notion of the absurd. In The Myth of Sisyphus, he writes, "The human search for God is impossible. But so is the proof that God does not exist." 19th century existentialist Kierkegaard led me to read 20th century existentialists Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. They agreed with their friend Camus that life had no preordained meaning, but they had a solution. As free individuals, we can make our meaning through our choices, actions, relationships, and projects. Influenced by existentialists, Camus claimed not to be one. He believed that humans naturally had the urge to find purpose in our lives, before that the universe was indifferent, chaotic, and void of meaning. For him, absurdity was the realization that our longing for meaning could not be satisfied. Kierkegaard had found meaning in religion. Camus said that was cowardly. Sartre and de Beauvoir said individuals can create their own meanings. Camus said creating your own meanings for yourself was futile. It's based on subjective preferences and opinions rather than objective truth. While humans crave meanings, Camus suggested that any meaning we impose on life will be temporary and ultimately false, as it does not align with the universe's indifference. Instead, Camus embraces the absurd accepts the lack of inherent meaning, and finds freedom in that acceptance. As part of his own free absurdity embracing life, Camus joined the French Resistance. He wrote voraciously. You probably remember The Stranger from high school if you were a French major. Check out The Plague, an allegory about the Nazi invasion. A moralist, he countered Sartre to oppose Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union because of their totalitarianism. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion, Camus said. We are the ones ultimately responsible for our actions, and we can't appeal to anything higher than our individual selves. Simone de Beauvoir, in her existentialist ambiguity of ethics, encouraged Camus to consider more than the individual. After his death, a manuscript was uncovered from the wreckage of his car. It was his final novel called The Fall. In it, expressed the importance of solidarity. Man's solidarity is founded upon rebellion, and rebellion can only be justified by this solidarity. Back to my beach trip. Was it an absurd waste of time? Worth the anxiety? Meaningful? Absurd? That first morning at the beach, my best friend Joanne from 6th grade admitted she had had heart pains and had spent all night at the local ER. She left the hospital against doctor's orders. She was rebelling, so much as she had done in high school. Joanne said, "How could I not be here in a beach chair next to my old friends, both battling cancer and coming all this way to see me?" She handed me a sparkling drink from her cooler. In this moment, for all of us, that was what it was all about. Now it's time for you to talk, to share your understanding of the meaning of life. I know we haven't given you that long, but I think you can make a start. Please move in twos or threes to talk, and Dorothy and I will call the time. It won't be very long. If you're online, please say yes to unmute when the text asks you to unmute. And you can talk with each other. We got 10 minutes.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who is this?
Wonderful. This is Michelle Matthews. I'm one of our tech team today.
Oh, hi,
So
Michelle. This is Annette Dean. I guess
Hi,
maybe
Annette.
you know that. Hi.
I am just here to help facilitate. So please, I think everybody's getting, you may be the first one who clicked the allow me to unmute.
Okay.
So everybody right now, so what do you think, Annette?
Oh, I don't know. I basically unmuted so I could listen to everyone else.
Awesome. Well, hi, Lolly. I see you've unmuted.
Who is that?
This is Michelle Matthews.
Oh, okay. I thought you welcomed someone else. Okay.
So, hi,
Anyway.
Lolly. Are you there? Yeah. So anyway, what do you have any thoughts on it?
Oh, no, I'm just trying to take in everything she said because there was so much. And
There was a lot.
Yes. So anyway, it was all very interesting. And I appreciate that people can read philosophers and get things from what they're reading.
Mm-hmm. Yes, me too. Me too. And if you want to save those things that were put in the chat, there should be a save the chat button that you can push if you want to save a transcript of the chat. But otherwise, you could just send the office a message and they can send you what was in the order of service or the handout.
Okay. Oh, right. Yes, because we didn't have the handout. Yes. Okay. Got
Awesome.
it. Okay.
So
has no one else joined?
Well, is anybody else unmuted that and has anything they'd like to share or ask?
Wow. Okay. So what do you think, Michelle?
So I was reading through those things. I'm in the process of writing my summary for my dad's memorial. He passed
Oh,
away a couple weeks ago, and
oh,
we're doing a
condolences.
memorial for him in
Gosh.
August. He was 88, and
Wow.
yeah, and he had such an interesting philosophy of life that
Oh.
and it got more complicated every time he described it. So
Hmm.
I was reading through those trying to think, huh, what did my dad think? And I think it's a collection of a
Right.
bunch of them. So I'm not sure. I don't think I don't actually believe that there is anything outside of what we do here, but I also
Uh-huh.
know that there is no way for me to know,
Right.
and I will know if there's more when I know that there's more, and
Right.
I'll know that I'm wrong if
Yes.
that happens. And if
Yep.
I'm right, I won't know,
Well,
'cause
that sounds about like my philosophy, I guess.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So,
Right.
but I'm like, I have lots of friends who believe a lot different things than me, and I just go, if you're right, I'll figure it out, but I won't, if you're wrong, I won't be able to tell you that I was right, and it doesn't matter.
That's
Like
right.
I love that it just doesn't matter. It
It
just
just
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. Yes,
Are you
exactly.
happy? Do you feel fulfilled? Are you
Right.
enjoying your life? And that's all that
Right.
matters.
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
So
it's very good. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I found Unitarian Universalism over a decade ago, because it was um it really kind of allowed me to put all that in a way that I'm like, I don't actually have to tell anybody they're wrong, because again, it
Exactly.
doesn't matter who's right or
Right.
who's wrong.
Right. Right. Yes, I agree with that too. I came from the Catholic Church,
Oh yeah,
and
me too.
yeah, and straight to the Unitarian Universalist Church. And yes, I mean, it has just allowed me to admit that what I had been taught all my life was not what I was believing. So, yeah.
They have dinged us back, so I will
Okay.
join you back on the main thing.
Good talking with you.
You too.
Yeah, okay. Does anyone else like to share with us at this point? Anyone online? No? Okay, I'm sorry we didn't get Jean on the microphone. We weren't quick enough for that. Sorry, Jean. Oh, would you like to speak, Jason?
I would hate for long pregnant silence of no one wanting to participate, so I'm just jumping up out of service to fill the gap. There was only time for two of us to share, but there was a major overlap of our sense of meaning coming from our vocation And in both of our cases, our vocation is dependent on federal funding for whether it's for media or for education. And so we're at this crossroads of questioning our sense of purpose and how do we go forward without vital support. And I'm not sure that I have an answer, except that the mission continues as long as people intend to carry it on, as long as the need is there to be filled. And so despite the kind of disconnect and the chaos and the uncertainty, that leap of faith that we talked about, I think will allow us to bridge the gap to kind of a contingency plan for new media, new education efforts, and new sources of support and funding. So that was the kind of moral of the story that I tried to spin, but we were running out of time. And I don't want to speak for Meg, but that was what I got. Yeah, it was a brief interlude for figuring out the meaning of life, but we tried it. Oh, and I challenge someone else to stand up and speak too, because it.
Thank you, Jason. I guess to add on to that a little bit is that I sent to my sons. I'm sorry. I have two sons that lost their jobs, like Jason, having to do with all this stuff, and one is coming back to Richmond this week. But he lost his job in January, and my other one lost his job 2 months ago. So I sent them these philosophies thing. I said, at this time, I'm hoping you guys have something to read to help you. My sons don't listen to me, but maybe. So I'm sorry. The joy is that Ryan is coming, we think, within a week. Okay, is anybody else that'd like to join? Thank you. Oh.
For one of these quotes, it said, to overcome nihilism, create your own values, embrace life's joys and sufferings, and become an empowered self. And I think I relate a lot to that, especially the part where it says, embrace life's joys and sufferings. I also am going through something in my mind that brings a lot of suffering to my heart. And to think about it in this ways, embrace life's joys and sufferings. It's like, sometimes life does have sad moments, and you have to have those sad moments to feel community sometimes, or to feel, when you get past that sad moment, stronger at the end of the tunnel. Like, to embrace all of that, I think is a great way to think about meaning of life. And I think even reading this quote brings me a little solace, a little comfort, to think that every single person goes through life in their own ways, and they all have joys and sufferings, and it's a lot to throw into thinking about the meaning of life, which is not something I think about often. So I appreciate that. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Oh, yes, we have to. Yes, okay. So, we have a closing hymn. Please rise in body or spirit for a closing hymn, Spirit of Life. It's in the Gray Hymnal 123. We'll sing it through twice. Spirit of King in my heart will raise all compassion. In preparation for our closing, let us reach out to each other in whatever way we feel comfortable. When you go, find peace. When you go, go in peace. Leave this place knowing that you're good and knowing that you are loved. Take your dark and your light and your love from this place, share them with the world, and stay safe until we meet again. Amen. And thank you, everyone. Enjoy coffee hour and conversation. And we have Baker's Dozen outside. Or Baker's, said it, Baker's Dozen, right?